Hello, it's DeeJayBe here, and today I'm going to teach you how to transfer your drawing using a grid. This method is generally used for realistic drawings, and particularly when you're working with a large scale and you want to get the proportions right. You're going to need a ruler, a soft pencil, a calculator, a white gel pen if you have a lot of black to dark color on your reference image. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure out the reference image of how big it actually is. And the measurements that I got from that is 18 centimeters wide and 27 centimeters tall. The paper that we're going to be transferring to is 61 centimeters tall and 48.3 centimeters wide. Now, when looking at an image, especially one that has a standard background, the paper isn't the same ratio as the reference image. So we can cheat it a little bit by adding a little more extra black on the right side of the horse and as well on the top and the bottom. So the corner of the drawing is where it's most important, and I need that information inside the grid. If you're doing a drawing that's all needs to be transferred, like background and whatever your subject is, then you're definitely going to have to grid it exactly so that everything fits onto your paper. But in that case, I would recommend printing a reference image that's the same ratio as the paper that you're planning on using. The first thing you want to do is just grid your drawing. Since the numbers are fairly even with the measurements of the paper, I'm going to use 2 centimeter squares and just measure those across both sides. And I make sure to write the numbers of each square on the paper so it's a little less confusing when you're transferring. And I'm going to use a combination of the white gel pen and the pencil depending which areas are black and which areas are white on the reference image. So after we have it all gridded up, you can shrink some of the sections. If you have more information in a certain section and you need a smaller square, you can just cut a few of the squares in half. We'll do the same when we transfer it, and this just makes it a little bit easier to see certain areas. So once we have our finished gridded paper, we're ready to transfer to the Bristol, but first we have to do a little bit of math. It doesn't matter what measurements you get, but you want to make sure you have the same amount of squares. We have 9 going across the bottom and 14 going across the side, but the 14th one is kind of like a half square and it's not really necessary. So we can get away with going to 13. Because I have more squares running up the side of the drawing and those squares need to fit within the Bristol, I took the 61 centimeters and divided it by 13. I ended up with 4.7 centimeters as being the square size. When I times 4.7 by 9, I would end up with 10 squares across the bottom, but that's okay because we have background that we can just fill in on that side that has a little bit extra. I don't have a measuring stick, so the best thing that you can use as a straight edge is just the paper pad that the piece of paper came out of. Very lightly draw all of the lines. Now I make sure I number the squares as well, just so that I know where everything is for the beginning of the sketch. So once you have it all gridded, you can go back in and add that extra detailed area that you did the same on the reference image. Just cut the squares in half, and then you're ready to begin your drawing. So for big pieces like this, I like to attach them to an artboard, and because my artboard is spring-loaded, generally wrecks the paper, so I just put a little piece of paper underneath. And when I'm working with a piece like this, I have to take it to my easel. And then you're ready to just transfer the drawing via the grid method. So thank you very much for watching, and I will link all of the tools and materials below, as well as all of my social medias. Thanks for watching, and keep on creating.